Welcome back to my channel, Naked Narcissism. In today's video, we're going to be tackling a very requested topic on how to leave a narcissist. And in today's video, we're going to discuss how to do that. So if you are in a very toxic relationship and thinking that you are involved with a narcissist, this video is for you because I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how to do that. So stay tuned. So step one is you have to recognize narcissistic behavior, and that comes through gaining the knowledge that is out there on narcissistic behavior. There is tons and tons of information, but some of the key traits of narcissism is gaslighting, pathological lying, changing history, mental abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, causing chaos, playing the victim. Like, there's a host of narcissistic behaviors that you need to be aware of. And the more you know about narcissism, the more you can take the power out of it, right? If you don't know about it, you're just wondering and you're just left confused on what's happening in your relationship. So the first thing is to recognize narcissistic behavior. Step two is evaluating your relationship. So you need to reflect on how this relationship is impacting you day to day. And that comes through examining your sort of emotions, your confusion, your ability to do life. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, oftentimes everything else in your life suffers because all you're doing is trying to maintain the relationship because it takes up so much space in your life. So you have to go within and figure out, is this the right thing for me? Am I enjoying this relationship more than I'm not? So step two is you have to evaluate your relationship and see where you stand with your happiness and joy versus your heartache, despair, and just overall mental state. So step two is evaluate your relationship. Step three is you have to plan your exit strategy. And this takes very careful planning because narcissists are all in your life. They don't allow a lot of space for you to think or to rest or to plan. Everything is about them. The whole house focuses on them and their needs, and you probably spend much of your time arguing and defending and crying and all of that. So you have to plan in order to leave. You can't just decide today, I'm going to leave and leave. You can do that, but that's not very effective. You have to get your essential documents together. You have to figure out a place that you're going to live. You have to figure out your finances. You might have children with them and you'll have to figure out custody. So it takes a very careful plan, and you'll want to do it methodically. Step three is to plan your exit strategy and make sure you carry everything out of that house that you want on that day that you're moving. A narcissist generally won't let you back in the house, so you'll want to make sure that you are taking everything you want on day one. And one of the things that I recommend is to find a storage unit somehow without the narcissist knowing. And I would just start putting things in there that you want to make sure that the narcissist doesn't break. Make sure that you put things in there that you need. I'll give you an example. When I was leaving, I didn't really know to do this, but I had a blanket that my mom had made for me with my son's picture as an infant. And the picture was on this blanket. It was a full-size like throw blanket that you can put around yourself on the couch. And I absolutely adored this blanket. And I did not leave with that. And I went back to get it, and I wasn't allowed to get it. Another thing that I was not allowed to get, and it took a lot of arguing with the narcissist to get it back, was my high school diploma. And it was all, my mom had it professionally framed, and I wasn't able to get that until several years later. And the only reason I got it is because some of his things, my ex's things, ended up in my belongings. I don't know how that happened, but I did a trade, and that is the only reason I got it. So I'm telling you from firsthand experience, make sure you take everything out with you before you go. So get a storage unit and start putting stuff in there. Step four is seeking support of family and friends. And this one doesn't have to necessarily come after step three, but you can start building it along the way. But nonetheless, it's step four for the purposes of this video, and that is to make sure you have enough support around you. And I found that going to group therapy was very helpful because there were people in there that were going through the same thing as me. And I also had a good group of core friends that I fully trusted. I had one that I didn't really confide in, but she was still a friend. But she turned on me and decided to be friends with the narcissist. And so I'm glad she showed her colors very early. But you'll need to make sure you have a core group of family and friends around you that you can talk to and cry with and be yourself, because what that does is allow your family and friends to feed into you and replace all those negative thoughts about the relationship and about you that the narcissist has said, and replace it with really good, healthy information about you and your life. And that's really, really important to gather your family and friends, is establishing boundaries with the narcissist. Once you leave, you need to have very, very clear boundaries with that narcissist, or the narcissist will just knock them over and you'll find yourself right back into that relationship. I learned that the hard way as well. You must establish your boundaries. I went back a couple of times, and on the last time I learned my lesson. I needed to put up stronger boundaries for myself and for the narcissist, is to consider your legal ramifications of doing this. You want to make sure that legally you're not doing anything that will get you in trouble later. Like, you don't want to leave your children behind without having some kind of discussion with the narcissist and have documentation of what you all agreed to regarding whether you are in a one-party state or a two-party state. You may or may not be able to record this conversation. You'll want to look up the laws in your state. But if you can record without his or her knowledge, I would definitely do that. And I would definitely follow up with an email and a text message about what agreements you made about the children before you leave. Whether that's, you've decided on 3 days on, 3 days off, or 1 week on, 1 week off, or whatever you decide, I would have that in writing. And if at all possible, here's a really big tip. Try to make your custody informally with the narcissist, where you're taking the children on the first round. Like, if it's 1 week on, 1 week off, try having your week the first week that you're leaving. Now, I know that that's really hard to do when you're trying to set up a new place, but legally it just makes a lot of sense for you to leave with the children and then, do the swapping like that, so the narcissist doesn't accuse you of abandonment. Is to focus on your healing. Once you're gone from the narcissist, you need to really focus on your healing, and that's going to take a lot of work. You have to be very intentional about your healing. And thankfully at Naked Narcissism, we have a healing program set up just for this purpose. It's a 3-course program, and it's all about how to heal yourself from the inside out. And remember that leaving a narcissist is a very brave and transformative step in your life. You are taking the step to rebuild your life and give you back the joy that's been missing for a long time. So I want to commend you for considering this step and actually going forward with this step to leave a narcissist. I'm really proud of you. So I will see you soon. And if you have not subscribed, I'd appreciate you hitting subscribe below and hitting that bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload my trainings. See you next time.